What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. Hollywood is in full-blown panic mode, and it's not going to get any better for them. And I think that you're going to want to hit the like button right now because I'm about to share some excellent news with you because this is truly a rod of their own making. It is truly 100% their fault. A new report indicates, and this is from Deadline, that the domestic box office in the United States is expected to drop. It was already a terrible year. Get ready to hit that like button. It is going to drop by another $1 billion in 2024. And there's a lot of reasons for it. So obviously we know nobody gives a crap about woke reimaginings. Nobody gives a crap about remakes. Although I have no interest in seeing another musical. Although the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Willy Wonka is there's lots of songs in it too. Obviously, I really had no interest in whatsoever in Wonka, but that would be an example of kind of a retread that seemed to do okay at the movie theater. The Cape films are completely tanking, but let's not also forget. What I think might be a big part of it is that, all the weirdos that worship these Hollywood people that hate you, by the way, they hate you. For years, what were they telling you? Stay at home. Get the jab. Don't go out. Wear a mask. Don't go to large groups. I said this at the time. I said this during lockdowns that the coof was going to mean that there was some amount of people that were never, ever going to go back to the movies again. Ever. Never, ever, ever would they go back to the movies again. And guess who was at the forefront telling you that? Is Hollywood. They were at the forefront telling you if you didn't wear a mask, you were killing grandma. They were at the forefront of telling you that you got to get the jab. You got to get the jab after the jab, then the jab after the jab after the jab after the jab, then the jab after the jab after the jab after the jab after the jab. I don't know how many jabs you're on now, 7 or 8. They told you to go get that. It still didn't do much to make people feel more confident because they were still getting sick. They were still spreading the virus. Domestic box office expected to drop by $1 billion in 2024 amid fewer films and waning moviegoer sentiment. But 31 tentpoles hope to provide. Do you know how many? I saw this number. I don't know if this is true. I saw it in enough places from people I trust that I think that it's probably close to true. But I saw a number that said there were 26 remakes or reimaginings planned in 2024 alone. That's one every other week. The article leads off, there will be blood at the box office in 2024, and not the type that comes with two studio tentpoles going at each other. Nah, as Barbenheimer showed the past year, that's actually great for business. We're talking about the red ink kind, and it's going to be felt on both sides, studios and cinemas, with the latter sector experiencing a potential collapse come spring among mid-size circuits due to erratic pipeline of product movies, that is. While this year counted 124 wide theatrical releases, meaning they opened in at least 1,000 theaters, the dual WGA and SAG after strikes forced a bulk of tentpole delays that are leaving 2024 with only 107 wide titles, craters abound on the release schedule, and 6 weekends currently sans wide entries. Nothing new coming out on at least 6 weekends. Domestic box office this year, after being plus 21% over 2022 with nearly $9 billion, is expected to shed at least $1 billion in 2024. After exhibition and major studios were wounded during the coup due to cinema closures between March 2020 and March 2021, and features stuck in post-production during fall of 2022, this just saw the return to some form of normalcy due to a conveyor belt of tentpole releases every weekend, starting back to mid-February with Disney's Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp. By the way, it lost $100 million. These movies came out, right? But they all lost money. The post-Labor Day New Line Cinema, The Nun 2, that movie was terrible. The supply of wide releases was so great in 2023 that there's only one weekend without them, this coming New Year's weekend. An indication of the New Year's success. Now they wrote, quote, "We should be nervous about the first half of 2024, sweats one studio exec who wants to speak confidentially to Deadline. There's no way that the labor stoppage, as prolonged, as chaotic as this wasn't going to have consequences," the suit explains. Fire comes through and burns a forest and a town, and then the fire is over. But the consequences of the fire aren't over. There's mudslides. There's damaged infrastructure. The fire isn't over. Now we've got to rebuild the town, he wrote. The weakest part of 2024's theatrical schedule is arguably the first 4 months. Through the end of April 2024, there are 31 wide releases on the calendar compared with 44 last year. The first 4 months of 2023 grossed $2.65 billion, built on the backs of Super Mario Bros., which I think made a billy, Ant-Man and the Wasp, which lost money, John Wick Chapter 4, which was the weakest of the John Wicks by far, Creed 3, and Scream 6. Touching the figure would be a miracle, especially with nothing on the calendar looking like $500 million plus successes of, the $500 million plus the successes of Super Mario. I thought Super Mario made $1 billion. That's domestic. So worldwide it probably did. So you have another issue though, right? The issue is what's happening with the audience. However, the broken rhythm of big product is last year poses a further question about when the theatrical marketplace might return to a place of strength. The consequences are profound, trying to rebuild the audience's interest in theatrical and getting the business healthy again. The issue is what's happening with the audience, says other major studios concerned about the collapse in superhero movies this year, exemplified by Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and early November's The Marvels. There are far bigger issues for me. The failures of this year and beyond, coupled with the lack of originality and the need for newness that actually works. Wow, they have to do their jobs. They actually have to do their gerbs. That's what this is. They have to do their gerbs. They have to come up with a new film that is actually interesting, does well, and that isn't woke trash. And I think that's probably impossible for them. I truly believe that it is impossible for Hollywood to do this. I mean, do you think that they could come out with anything new? I don't. The risk is that we're boring the audiences with the same old garbage. So they admit it. Myriad Strats from the National Research Group of recent studies on 2024 support studio bosses' anxieties. NRG's polling shows that 70% of moviegoers want more original movies. Meanwhile, 41% agree that movie franchises are, quote, getting better, down from 56%. There's also declining sentiment that franchises are a safer choice to spend money on and are, quote, must see in theaters. Well, let's not forget that streaming did something. That said, if the audience is to expand for original movies, studios need to put their money where their mouth is, which they're not going to do. Consider the 3 top grossing movies in 2023 that weren't pre-existing IP franchises or brands. Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, $326 million. The Red State-led Sound of Freedom, $184 million. And Blumhouse's Dancing Bot Girl promoted Megan at $95 million. Amazon MGM Saltburn did $11 million. The problem is, it's really just a budget thing. If they were to actually take the time to put good movies out there, like I have zero interest in Furiosa, a Mad Max saga movie. None. And look at this. Hollywood's attempt to encourage diversity is in fact performative. They didn't do anything. Greta Gerwig's Barbie may have been the top grossing film of 2023, but women are still dramatically underrepresented behind the camera in Hollywood, according to 2 major studios. Make your own movie then. At the same time, major studios pledged to re-examine their diversity and inclusion practices in the wake of BLM in 2020, still failed to produce many films from people of color, according to USC's Annenberg Inclusion Initiative. The second report in as many days to find that despite the outsized success films directed by women in 2023, such as Barbie and Elizabeth Banks' Cocaine Bear, that was not a success. Nobody saw that movie. Studios are still not giving women the same opportunity. So they're still whining. They're still whining that there isn't enough diversity and inclusion. Meanwhile, The Marvels, which was women-directed, woman-starred exclusively, was the biggest box office bomb in Marvel history. The biggest in history. Not this year, ever. The biggest ever. Female director, female writing staff, female star, female co-star, female antagonist, female protagonist. The biggest box office bomb in Marvel history. That isn't to say that, it has anything to do with women, but it is to say that just because you put a chick in it, make her gay and lame, that doesn't work. Sure, Barbie did well, but Barbie was always going to do well. It's freaking Barbie. The fact that they're set to lose another $1 billion in the box office, and they're still whining and complaining about getting even more woke. I couldn't be happier. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. We'll talk to you again real soon.